low. It's that we have a lack of the right focused effort. That is the truth. If we buy into the fact that if it's just low inventory, we're going to lose. All right. I promise you. The right focused effort. What does that mean? Come on, you got to give me something.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Craig, just going through the numbers, the inventory, we're actually about 5.7 months of inventory last time I checked, which was about 2 weeks ago. So actually, it's not true that we have low inventory. We have low quality listings on the market. So we need to be lead generating around the neighborhoods that will sell to have better listings.
Okay.
We're actually moving toward a balanced market based on the numbers. To say that it's a seller's market is really not true based on our inventory.
Okay. So we're saying that we have a lower inventory of sellable product.
Correct.
So either our agents aren't listing the properties correctly at the right price to cause it to sell. Could that be one thing?
That could be.
All right, great. So that's called skill, right? So it's skill, right? Getting a seller to price the property is a skill set that focuses on the seller's motivation. That's all it is. So here's the cool piece. Who said that they're getting multiple offers on their listings? Who was that? Okay, great. I love it. So when you get multiple offers, give me an idea. Tell me the last property that you had and how many offers you actually got on that property.
We got 2 offers on it.
Okay, so you got 2. So anything more than 1 is multiple, right? Now, write this down because this is a statistic that when a property goes on the market in a neighborhood, statistically within 100 doors, 2 more properties will follow suit within 6 months or less. Okay, did you hear that?
Within 100 doors. 100 doors.
In 100 doors. So if you took your multiple offers, if you took those people that missed out and you went and door knocked the 100 doors around the house that you just sold and said, here's the contracts for 1 family or 2 families or 3 families that missed out on the house down the street that really want to be in this neighborhood, you think you could find somebody who would say, holy crap, honey, you should come out here and listen to this?
Absolutely.
Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you doing that?
No.
Why not?
More sides.
You can call the neighborhoods too, but ultimately, do you think you'll have more impact if you were knocking doors and say, here's 2 people, cross their names off the list. I have 2 contracts right here in my hands of people that want to be in this neighborhood. Would you have any consideration of selling? Would you at least find the people that would be considering selling, or maybe they'll tell you somebody that would? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's specific and it's focused and it's not made up. It's true. Because if you don't believe it, it's not going to happen. Does any of you guys have current buyers right now that you're working with that that you can't find anything for them to buy? Who has that? A couple people? Okay. Same thing, right? Like, are you doing everything that you possibly can to go find that listing for them? Or are you expecting the MLS to do the work for you? I mean it, by the way. If there was no MLS, then how would you be behaving differently?
Door knocking, making phone calls.
Wait, you'd be door knocking? Is that right? You'd be making, would you reach out to everybody in your potentially in your database and say, look, I have a buyer that legitimately is real. They want to buy $250,000 house, 4-bedroom, 2-bath in these specific neighborhoods. Help me. Would you do that?
Yeah.
All right, maybe I could change the question. Would you even be in real estate if there was no MLS?
Yeah.
Do a little bit more work. I mean, I think we can make it happen. We have to go out and find the marketable places.
All right.
MLS is making us lazy.
It might, yeah. Well, think about this. Well, I'll ask you, why do you think Zillow's in business?
Because we're lazy.
Because agents are lazy, okay? They're not, Zillow is in business because they realize that the agents aren't willing to do the necessary work. So they'll do the work for them and then sell it back to them.
Correct.
That's exactly why they're in business. So if you just operated on the same protocol that Zillow did, do you think that you'd have the ability to take 100 listings?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay. How come you're not doing it?
Well, hey, and Craig, along those lines, I mean, we had multiple offer situation on a house, and it's a one of a kind. I say it's a one of a kind. It's a small community made up of about 5 to 6 houses. It's a mission planted into a non-desirable neighborhood in Tuscaloosa. And
Okay.
so we're doing the same thing. Is we did a mail out. Hey, we just sold this house and we got a full price offer. If anybody's considering selling, because the mindset of the seller is I'm never going to be able to sell this. I said, well, here's the reality. You've got a very specific house, and that one person that wants your house doesn't want anybody else's house. So when we find the one person that wants your house, great. It was on the market for 153 days through the winter, and all of a sudden everything's hopping. We did a price reduction. We got multiple offers same day, and now I've got potential. It's a new agent, so they're not thinking, well, let me go door knock and call these people. So I'm going to take that deal and go get another deal. And so if you're thinking like this, would you rather have 3% or 6%? All right, so would it be worth knocking on the door for 3% more? You didn't have to advertise it. You didn't have to do anything.
Guys, a lot of times it starts with us personally. All right. It starts with us inside from the value proposition for ourselves. That's really the truth. The truth is do you know why somebody should do business with you?
Yes.
Are you absolutely clear on why you're the best person to get the job done? Why you can get them the most amount of money in the most convenient amount of time in today's marketplace? Are you absolutely bulletproof sure that you're the right person? Because look, you're inside this room right now. The wall that I see is painted red. You got millionaire real estate agent hanging up on the wall. I'm sure that you've seen the triangle multiple times. Leads, listings, leverage. You guys seen that? Is it probably somewhere hanging up in your wall?
Yes.
Okay, so the only thing that's missing inside of that triangle is a V inside of the middle of it for value. What is your value proposition for sellers? What makes you the best? And I mean it, right? Like, wholeheartedly mean it. Are you going to work harder for them? Are you going to go knock on doors? Do they know that you're going to go knock on doors? Have you told them that? I'm willing to go knock on 100 doors to find the other 2 sellers that might sell so I can find you or to be able to pick your neighbor, or I'm going to go find a buyer for you. Are you walking them through that process? If you double-ended every listing that you took, would that be an issue?
Hey, Craig, and along those lines, when you don't have to do that but about 4 or 5 times, and you got 5 raving fans saying, this girl right here is she went above and beyond. And man, David, you need to list your house with her because she'll do whatever it takes to get the job done. AJ, man, every time she lists my house, I get multiple offers. And she's out door knocking. She did open houses. She did a mail out. She called the whole neighborhood. It's crazy. I've never had an agent do that.
And the whole neighborhood's talking about it.
Yeah. She just picked up 2 more down the road. She's the person in the know for this neighborhood.
Yep. Well, and one of the questions that we have to ask ourselves, and this you should probably ask yourself in the mirror, or at least be 100% honest and transparent with yourself, is if you're not actually doing it now, is it because of will or skill? It's either we're not willing to do the work, or we don't have the skill set yet and you're not putting in the work to get the skill set. It's either one of those two, will or skill, or a combination of both, nothing in between. And if you're willing to do it and you're doing the activities and you're not getting the results, then what do you think that says?
Skill.
Skill, right? So amateurs practice until they get it right. Professionals practice until they can't get it wrong. So are you willing to play in the big leagues?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I got a yes, one. We'll use that one yes. Would you like to make more money in less time?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because ultimately, you got to start getting better instead of wishing it was easier. That's the truth. When we work on our skill, we can get through any market. So let me give you an example. How many of you guys have mastered a listing presentation? Mastered it in a way that you are as good or better as Diana Kokoska, Monica Reynolds, Tony DeCello, the top of the food chain.
That's a high bar. I'm good at it. I can leave with a signed contract more often than not.
Okay, I'm gonna give you guys. I'm gonna share a story. I'm gonna give you an example. And this again, there's no easy path to success, by the way. Right? There isn't. When you're willing to make hard decisions, I promise you, you'll have an easy life. I promise you. And when you make easy decisions, I also promise you, you'll have a hard life. Okay? I'm going to walk you through something that I promise if you do this, I promise you, you will get better in such a short period of time that you'll be able to take listings where you weren't able to before, and you'll rise to the top of the food chain. But if you skip a step, don't call me and tell me it doesn't work. Okay? So are each one of you guys familiar, or do you have a listing presentation, a video listing presentation that you've watched that you actually like? Like, I like that style. I like that listing presentation. I believe in that listing presentation. Yes or no?
No.
All right. Well, there's the first issue, right? Like we're not even.
I haven't seen
It
it.
wasn't video.
It was live.
It was live in class.
Okay. Well, I understand. But like, I'll give you examples. Like when Diana Kokoska had her listing presentation for Bold, okay? That was a recorded video presentation. Yes, Ben Kinney has a listing presentation. I can show you all kinds of listing presentations from across the United States. What Ben did about, I don't know, 12 years ago is he made the commitment that he was going to go R&D everything else around the country. And R&D is rip off and duplicate. So he ripped off and duplicated what he loved the most, and then he put it into one single presentation. Make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the first step is to find a presentation that you absolutely are on board with. If you're not willing to go hunt that down, then this isn't going to work. That's the first step. Okay. So are you committed to finding a presentation that's going to work for you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. By when?
Today.
Yeah.
7 days.
Well, I mean, and don't settle and don't say something you're not committing to. Like literally, if you want to get better, this is going to be the first step. Okay. Practicing is also watching body language and watching a presentation. But now here we go. I will send this to Adam so you have it, but you should still write it down. Once you have the presentation, the only thing I'm going to ask for you to do in the first week, first 5 days, Monday to Friday, is watch the presentation before you start your day and watch the presentation before you leave and go home. That's all you got to do. Is that hard?
Nope.
Can you do it?
Yes.
Yes.
Of course you can. No, but here, the question really is will you, right? It's will or skill. So the first week, you're going to do this 5 consecutive days. How many times will you have watched the presentation?
10.
All right. We're all math students. I love it. Great. So the 10 times we've watched the presentation, probably 10 times more than you've watched any other presentation in your life. Weird. Okay, great. Now let's go to week 2. You ready? It's going to be real hard. I promise. I only need you to watch it 1 time in the morning. But when you watch it that week, every day, I need you to take out a lined piece of paper, not type. I mean it. Don't type, write. Write down what you hear. You don't get to stop it. You don't get to pause it. You just write it down. It's going to stress you out. I promise you. Your paper is going to look like a 5 or 6-year-old wrote it because you're like, what the heck? Because you can only write down the words that you're hearing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So for that week 2, how many times are you going to listen to the presentation?
5.
5. But you're going to write down each day what you hear. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So now we're done with 2. Now we're done with week 2. How many times have you watched the presentation?
15.
15 times, and you've written down 5 times the words that you can hear. Is that right?
Right.
Okay, now we're going to week 3. By the way, you should asterisk week 3 because it's going to take a little bit of time. And that just depends on whether you're invested in actually being the best and you want to go out and take 100 listings or not. Okay, you ready? Only 1 time a day. What do you think you got to do?
Send the question and do the listing?
Nope.
Yep, too soon.
Read what you've written down.
Handwrite, verbatim, word for word. Stop it, pause it, rewind it. Stop it, pause it, rewind it. Handwrite it, word for word, the entire presentation. It's going to take you between 2.5 and 3 hours to get it done. I just don't know if you're willing to invest that amount of time in you being the best. It's a lot of time. I know it's like 15 hours for a whole week to work on your skill. So now we're done with 3 weeks. How many times have you watched the presentation? 20. You've watched it 20 times. You've handwritten what you heard 5 times, and now you've handwritten verbatim, word for word 5 times. Let's go to week 4. Week 4 is easy. All you're going to do is watch it once. But now when you watch it, you're going to take one of the ones that you have verbatim and you're going to read it along. So you have body language and you have tonality and you have upswings and you have downswings. Okay. That's all you're going to do. Watch it once in the morning, but read it along with the presentation. Are we clear?
So only 1 day?
No, every 1 time a day, every day.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're 4 weeks. It's been 4 weeks. How many times have we watched it?
25.
25.
25 times. We've handwritten verbatim, or not verbatim. We've handwritten what we could hear. And I promise you, when you go back and look, what you hear is important because those are probably the tie downs and the upswings. They're the ones that are important. Then you're going to write it down verbatim 5 times, and then you're going to read it along. How well do you think you know that presentation after 20 business days and 1 month?
I'm gonna know it inside and out.
You are. You're going to know it inside and out. Because first you got to memorize it, then you internalize it, then you can customize it, and then you can compartmentalize it, because when you do that, you don't need all aspects of the presentation. You can actually compartmentalize it and take pieces of it out and get right to the point. When somebody doesn't need a 45-minute presentation and they only need a 5-minute presentation, you will have compartmentalized this. You want to know how I know this is true?
You did it.
Absolutely. Well, not only would I put my team through it because it's non-negotiable. However, I'm going to share a story with you. I'm not going to use any names because I didn't get permission from them to do it today, but it's somebody that I coach. And I now coach a different person in their organization. I coach their CEO, no longer the owner. And that CEO took 272 listings in a year. Okay. His record was 272 listings in a year, and his other record was 50 listings in a month. Yes, that was him personally. We brought on a new agent, a new listing agent, not a new agent. We hired this person specifically to be a listing agent. By the 3rd week through this process, he was converting listings at the same rate that the OP did, that was doing it year over year, and took a record 272. That is no kidding. His conversion ratio got there that fast. 4 weeks. Are you willing to put the work in to increase your skill? Yes or no?
Yes.
So now think about the amount of time, right? Like watching the presentation itself, great. 2 times a day for the first week, and then handwriting it, and then the verbatim. All of that might be a whole whopping 25 hours in a month. Are you willing to invest 25 hours in a month to increase your skill higher than it's ever been in your career?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay, great. Now, let me ask you this. Let's say that magically you went through this process. You think you're better at what you do then than where you are today? You think you have more confidence?
Yes.
Yeah. You think when you have more confidence that you could take more listings?
Yes.
Of course.
Okay, great. Now, no matter whether you're working with the listing or with the seller or a buyer, you think you can overcome more objections when you have a presentation down like that?
Yes.
Yes.
Remember, now that you've done it, you've memorized it first, then you've internalized it. By the time that you get to the 4th week, you've already internalized this, I promise you. And if you haven't for any reason, just keep going. But when you can compartmentalize this piece of the presentation, you can talk to anybody at any time about anything and move them forward. How awesome is that?
Sounds like fun.
Pretty crazy.
So the reason why I wanted to spend the time with you on that, I hope that was okay for me to walk you through that, is because I could tell you all the things to do, but if you don't have the skill set or the scripting in order to take advantage of the action, it's just going to cause more work and get less results. And in turn, it's going to frustrate you. Yeah?
Yes.
How we doing so far?
Craig, I was just going over the math. If if somebody was to commit to this for, it takes 4 weeks, right?
25 hours.
So you put 25 hours in and you were able to create 100 listings. We know that on average, for every listing you take, you bring 2 buyers, right? You'll attract 2 buyers. So let's just say that you only attract 1, you didn't market it well. At an average sales price of $4,500 on 200 deals, that's $900,000 a year at $150,000. So would it be worth investing 25 hours into perfecting your skill? What was the conversation we just had a while ago about contracts?
No, you contract in and out.
That too, yes.
So I've had this conversation with Bernadette, Jenny, Devin, we had yesterday. You've got basically 5 to 6 forms that you need to know the ins and outs of it. And if you can't confidently sit down and go through that contract and tell them on page 3, section 6 is this, then you need to get your skill set up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because here's the thing, guys. When it comes to a seller, the only one question that we all want to know is what will it take to earn their business? Just cut the fat. Right? Like, what will it take to earn their business? It's about them. But that's why it's so important to memorize and internalize and then customize and then compartmentalize, because when you know the answer to what they're actually looking for in order to earn their business, then you can take the compartmentalized piece of that presentation, get right to the point, move them forward, and let's roll. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? Because if you go into a D-style personality that wants you to get to the point and get this done in 5 minutes, and you sit there and give them 45 minutes, you probably lost.
Yeah.
So it's what will it take to earn your business? How do we win with them is what we want to know, right? Like, because here's the simple thing when it comes to sellers, guys. If you go out to a property and you don't get it signed, it's either one of two things. It's one of the 2 P's. Either you didn't pre-qual well enough before you went out to diagnose exactly what they're looking for, or your presentation's not up to speed and you got out scripted. There's nothing else, pre-qualification or presentation. And when you master both of those pieces, your life and your career are way easier. What do you think?
I love it.
Okay, awesome. So let's talk about a few people. Like, I want you to think about a few people, or I want you to think about like an expired. Have any of you guys ever called an expired before?
Yes.
Yeah?
I got one out of every 5 or 6 I call maybe.
Okay, great. Or if you call expireds right in the heat of battle, are they usually awesome to talk to?
No.
Okay. So expireds, if you just know this going in, you realize that somebody failed them.
Mhm.
Do you know that? Somebody
Yes.
didn't do their job, and I mean it wholeheartedly. They didn't do their job. They weren't skilled enough. They didn't get the property listed at the right price because they didn't understand and ask enough questions about the seller's motivation and let them know the ramifications of if they overprice it. Professionals do that, okay? When you get to the professional level and you practice until you cannot get it wrong, when you're at that level, are they interviewing you or are you interviewing them?
You're interviewing them.
Absolutely. That is a totally different mindset. Do they fit in your box? Yes or no? The only way you're going to know if they do is, number one, you understand the V inside of that triangle on your wall. Do you understand your own value proposition? Are you absolutely clear that when your values are clear, decisions are easy? When your values are clear, decisions are easy, because when they're not a match, don't do it. Make sense? The other key piece of a problem presentation or understanding a listing presentation at the level and depth that you guys are about to is, if they're so hard and they have too many objections, why the heck would you ever want to do business with them in the first place? Just saying. So the hard decision is actually letting go of somebody that's hard, and it makes your life easier when you can say no to somebody that doesn't fit in your value prop. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's hard to do that when you need business. I promise. It's hard to do that when you're needing business. But the better you get at being more restrictive, the more business you will get. Do you believe that's true?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the difference between an abundant mindset and a scarcity mindset, right? The scarcity mindset is no, I'll start acting that way when I get to a certain level. The abundant mindset says, no, I'll never get to that level until I start behaving that way. Make sense?
Yes.
If they don't have any intention to sell, why do you believe that you can help them? I'm just asking. You know, from a coaching perspective, sometimes from a coaching perspective and a consulting perspective can be similar. They're not the same because there's a level of accountability versus consulting. But what I will tell you is the professionals are willing to ask the questions that nobody else in their world will. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you don't understand that seller's motivation and you don't understand what makes them tick and you don't understand the impact of why they're about to do what they're doing and who else it's going to impact in their world, their family, their kids, right? If you don't know that before you leave, let me back up. If you don't know that those sellers probably better than some of their closest friends and family members before you walk out that door, you missed. Because when you know it at that level, you've asked the right questions, you understand their motivation, you won't let them off the hook by pricing at some stupid price.
Right.
You'll be able to hold them accountable to why they're doing what they're doing, and you'll be able to have the hard and the tough conversations with them because all you'll be doing is reminding them of why they set out to do this in the first place. That's what the professionals do, is they hold them to why. They remind them. It's going to get hard. It's going to get difficult at times. How do you want me to show up in your life? How do you want me to show up on the phone when things aren't going well? That's what professionals do. They're not afraid of the confrontation or the difficult questions or the difficult, let me say it this way. When you can get ahead of something, that's proactive. Is that right?
Yes. Right.
Okay. So an offensive phone call in real estate is 2 minutes. A defensive phone call in real estate is 20. And it also is filled with excuses and loaded with willpower depletion. So when you can reach out to them first and let them know, hey, we've had this amount of showings that we've had. This is the feedback that we've had. I've called every agent that went through there and asked them what it would take for their buyer to write the offer. There is no such thing as bad news. It's just news that's being delivered to them. And it's whether they put emotion to it or not. Does that make sense?
Yes.
When you're proactively reaching out, like the professionals over communicate. The amateurs and the people that are playing at the lower ranks, they avoid the conversation.
Correct.
Just saying. So, today, right now, we're at what? 2.75 in interest rate. Really close. It's insane. Okay, it's insane. Would it be harmful for you to call every single person in your database and just share the fact that, you know, interest rates at 2.75? Would you like to refinance your house or consider making a move? Because really, if you guys need inventory, then why don't you just be specific about it, right? Like, don't ask them if they want to do it someday. Why don't you just go ask everybody in your database if they're willing to make a move in the next 90 days or not? Because you need some help. You need some inventory. You got buyers that are sitting on the sidelines and they have houses that they can't find, and I need your help. Who in your database wouldn't help you if you asked them for help?
No.
I mean, seriously, this is a self-reflection question. Like sometimes we avoid talking to people, but I don't really know why. You guys are in sales. This is a contact sport. So if you called every single person in your database and asked for help and asked them, even if it's not them, who can they think of that is planning on making a move in the next 90 days or less? Do you think you'd find some business today?
Yes.
Yes.
Would that be a problem?
No.
No.
Just making sure. Just making sure. So, food for thought. There's one idea. Maybe you should start today. The other thing is finding the presentation that you're going to commit to watching for the next month. And I wish I would say that I believe that everybody in this room will do it. The truth is that we leave this room and then we go off and we get busy with everything else that doesn't matter. And I'm just giving you a simple step today. The one simple step, just commit to getting better. Commit to being the best version of yourself. Don't compare yourself to other people. Just be the best version of yourself, because that's all you can do. What else should we talk about?
Any questions? Yeah, Craig, I read a stat one time. It was talking about classes and going to, to learn and do and be better and all this stuff. And typically it's about 10 to 20%. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 people. So we've got 1 to 2 people in here that will apply this. The question is, who's that going to be?
Craig, you've really got my attention with learning the presentation back and forth. I can tell you that right now. That's something I'm going to work on.
Go ahead. Okay, so I have a question. So the listing presentation comes after setting the appointment. So what are the actions or activities that you recommend for having those phone conversations, those face-to-face conversations for getting the appointment? Because that's step one, right?
It can be step one, right? Like it's tough to give a presentation to somebody that you don't have a presentation for, is what I'm hearing. Is that right?
Well, that you have to have the appointment set. So what I want to do is, I know you told us these 4 weeks of activities as far as to be rock solid on presentation.
Yep.
But what are the things to be rock solid on getting the appointments with the right people who are motivated to do that?
Well, number one, you got to make either you got to make the calls face to face, or you either got to make the calls or you got to get face to face. Which one you want to do?
Yeah, I think that here's the reality behind that. I mean, you've got listings, right? And so that multiple offer situation, same thing. Mm-hmm. Hey, literally take the contract, print it out, mark out people's names, and say, I've got 2 contracts, or I've got 1 contract left that is looking to buy a house just like you've got. So I know when you bought this house, how long have you been here? They say 3 years ago. Well, this was the perfect house for you 3 years ago. My question is it still the perfect house for you today? If you were looking to buy a house today, would you buy this house again? And they say, probably not. I don't like the neighbor. Well, you know what? I've got an offer right here for you. Would you entertain selling your house? And it's just having those conversations. And it's, you know what I'm saying? Right, and you don't have to have that presentation when you have a contract.
Well, here's the thing. Let me ask it this way. What's preventing you from having the conversations now?
I mean, I think it's the things I said initially. Discipline, like making the time, making it a priority, right? And have those conversations.
The only person that can make this a priority is who?
Well, and Craig, we had a meeting this morning about the why.
I can't see her at all. She's like exactly behind somebody else. So it's like I'm talking. I know
it's just a voice back there.
So Craig, I think it comes down to we hide behind excuses, and we're not clear on why we're doing what we're doing. and what our goal is when we get up in the morning. We had a meeting this morning, and it's very important to, I'm here, right? I can help you say, hey, listen, this is my goal. Well, the question behind the goal is why, right? And when we get clear on why we need this kind of money and what good we're going to do with that kind of money in the world that's outside these doors, then all of a sudden it's not.
Well, so you know what's cool about this, guys? I promise. Who in this room, and just be honest, don't raise your hand for the fun of it because it's not going to help. Who enjoys helping people? Then why don't you do more of it? Right? It's not even about the money. If you really want to go help these people, then help them by understanding why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah, for some, it's limited belief, like Katie just said, and I was about to say rejection. If you have issues with rejection in this business of helping people, I think sometimes you have to get past that, and you can't have that to be a limiting belief.
Well, limiting.
You're gonna get no's, and you're gonna not get the listing, and you're not gonna get the listing today. Sometimes, sometimes you should get it today. I'm working backwards right now because I've got listings and sales, and I didn't even have presentations, so I'm struggling with trying to put it in a system, systematically get it done. So I'm kind of fumbling around right now because I went through the process, been to the closing table, but I did a couple of those and I didn't have a listing presentation. So I've got the listing presentation now.
Okay.
I understand what you're saying about doing 4 weeks, so that makes sense to get the script down and get it down. And just yesterday, I'm trying to change my concept of just saying, okay, let me just come and see your house and let me just list it. So a lady asked me, we had the conversation. The first thing I said, which I gave myself kudos, I said, okay, I'm gonna call you tomorrow, which is today, and do a listing consultation. So I had to slow my roll a little bit to say, okay, what am I gonna do with this person that I just made a face-to-face contact with? Normally I get all excited, it's like, yeah, I'll be at your house tomorrow, I'll be there today, and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And it's all backwards. So I kind of slowed my roll when she said we got the contact together, and I said, okay, I will call you. And we're gonna discuss when we're gonna set the appointment. And like AJ was asking, at what point will she need my listing presentation? Once I get an appointment, before I get there, after I get there?
It's up to you.
I'm struggling with that. I'm struggling with trying to find out when is the.
Well, there's options there. Are you gonna have somebody that can drop off that pre-listing package so she can review it? So when I come to meet with you, Bernadette, you know everything about what I do. It's all about you when I get there.
Right. My mindset is to, leave it on the door, something, or give it to her.
Drop it off to her.
Before the appointment. Now I'm gonna call for the consult today to see what her motivation is to sell and how serious she is. Normally I don't get that motivation. Normally I don't, well, I guess if she asked me, she's motivated. But she's had it on the market before, so it's an expired as well.
Okay.
So it's a learning process right now for me.
I'm gonna give you. So I think we're asking multiple questions. So here, let's simplify this a little bit. All right. One of them is fear. You know why we face our fear? Because our goal demands it. That's why. The other one is, it's simple. Like, just because we're going to go through 4 weeks of the listing presentation, mastering the listing presentation, let me ask you a sincere question here. You start this process next Monday. Let's just say you get everything ready to go and you're going to start day one on Monday. Okay. When you listen to that presentation the first time in the morning, you think you will have learned more than when you started that day?
Yes.
You think it might give you a little spark of confidence to then pick up the phone and maybe even book an appointment? I'm being dead serious about this because it's not one thing or the other. Pros practice and then they go into the game. They don't practice and then not go play. So you're going to learn through this and you're still going to take action. And you're going to get better every day. And the one key that professionals also do is they should have a win-win journal. It's actually a win-learn journal because there is no loss. There is never a loss in this business until you make an excuse. We either win or we learn. So if you didn't get it signed, you just need to go log in that journal. What objection were you not able to handle, or what prevented you from getting it signed? That's reflection, by the way. First, we take the action, then we reflect to learn. Make sense? 90% of our business comes from follow-up and persistence anyway. So the fact is we can sit around and make up all the stories of why we're not doing it. But the heroes are the ones that will do it anyway.
Makes sense.
And I promise you, whatever story that you're making up isn't serving you anyway. Because when you come from curiosity and a willingness to help, how do you get rejected? I mean it wholeheartedly, guys. Write this down. I promise, write this down. Maybe this will help. You as the person isn't getting rejected. The only thing getting rejected is the question, not you. Does that make sense? It's the question that got rejected, not you, the person. Change the freaking question.
So that's where that confidence level comes in, where you have to overcome the objections when you get those things like that, right?
But that's just coming from that staying in curiosity and asking more questions. Really, if you come from the premises of what it's going to take to earn your business today, it keeps everything simple. So if I communicate more effectively, I'll earn your business today. If I show you a marketing, what it's going to take to get your home sold for the most amount of money, the most convenient amount of time, that's what's going to earn your business today.
Asking better question.
If you ask them the questions, then you adjust your presentation according to their needs. If you don't ask questions and then you present, it's all about you and you're going to get your butt kicked. What do you think?
Sounds like a plan. I need to be fearless.
It's not even fearless. I mean, it's just taking action, right? Like it's taking action when nobody else will. Most people are looking for reasons not to do it. I want you to look for reasons to do it, right? It's not just reasons or results. Go find reasons to get the damn result, right? Most of your peers will tell you all the reasons why you can't go take 100 listings. I just want you to find the reason why you can. And it's not their fault. They're not doing it on purpose. It's just they're locked up in their own stories to prevent them from growing. And they think that safety is going to help them, I don't know, make more money. And it's not. Right? Like when you understand the impact of doing the right thing and asking the questions and understanding their motivation, is that helping them or not? I asked you enough questions to realize you're actually not motivated. Did I help you or not?
Yes.
Yeah. Look, in order to be successful, this is a long-term game. That is a different mindset, right? It is a totally different mindset. If I can uncover the fact that you're not motivated enough to sell today, did we win? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Only if you plan on being in business for the next 10 years, because I don't care when you're ready to sell. I'll be here when it's time. That's working for the best interest of them.
Right.
And when you can come from that place, do you think that you'll earn more business or less?
More.
More.
Abundant or scarcity mindset?
abundant.
Yeah, short-term or long-term mindset.
Long-term,
Great. How long you plan on being in business?
Long term.
long-term.
Act like it. You guys think I'm crazy, don't you?
Nope.
No, I know you're crazy.
Gonna choke on your water.
Oh, man, Craig, that's good, man. Y'all have any questions? We got about 5 minutes.
Ahas, anybody?
Seeing yourself doing the presentation, I'm about to do it in front of the mirror just to see how I'm acting when I do it. And I used to have a mirror at my desk to see when I was making phone calls, just to see how I was smiling when I was calling. So I probably put that back up. And I feel the confidence already to know that I need to rehearse that listing script. It's like, oh, yeah.
Guys, and look, that right there, it's not just the listing. It's the buyer consult. It's the contract. It's the recap. It's the net sheet. It's all the documents that we have to be professional with, right? It's doing a market analysis in 5 minutes. How long did it take me to get all that stuff together while I go when I'm showing you? To go through the taxes, go through this, set it all up. And if you don't know those systems like that, so hey, I just got a call for a listing. Hey, and I've got the next hour free. I've got time to do that, and I'll be there, right? We got to run off the calendar. I've got that open slot. I'll be there in just a minute. Got all my stuff. I'm ready to go. I've got my packet already listed. It's having are we amateurs or are we professionals? And professionals, they're run off a calendar and they know what they're doing. And here's the thing, guys. Bernadette, you said, I've just kind of stumbled through these deals, right? This is the best market that this industry has ever seen on the face of the planet. Right or wrong, Craig?
Well, we've been riding the best economic wave in the last 8 years in the United States history.
Right. We've got the best rates ever seen, right? And any amateur can stumble through some deals. The question is this a profession that you're committed to long term, and are we willing to be committed to learn our skills, gain skills, learn our industry, and be able to go out those doors and provide the confidence and the skill set that, hey, you know what? This is what I do, and this is why there's no question that you need to hire anybody else. And there be substance behind that, not just saying it.
Right.
Anybody can say anything.
Action, right? Like it's one key for me now, at the level that I'm coaching that is your actions speak so loud, like I can't hear your words. Your words are meaningless. It's your actions that are everything, right? Like it's just the truth. It's not because your words really don't mean something. It's I will grade you by your actions, not by your intentions. Because that's what happens is we sit in a room and we grade everybody else by their actions and ourselves by our intentions. It is BS.
Yeah. Well, and if you're committed to the profession, act like a professional.
Correct.
And we have all the perfect resources and examples. Listing presentation, you could probably pull up thousands, right? It's at the tip of our fingers. Why
It's
aren't we
actually
doing
already on your app.
Why aren't we doing this, right? Why aren't we doing this? 25 hours.
Right. You said you're gonna send out the one that we're gonna rehearse?
He said, like,
Oh, you
The list of what needs to be
All I'm
done.
going to do is send them the
So this
step.
is what we got. Got it.
I've got listing presentations that we use. We've got the buyer consult. It's all on video, and every one of you guys can use it. And look, you don't need 5, you need 1, and you need the one you're going to use. And you need to use it with every one of your clients. Because, hey, listen, when I'm clicking through ours, I don't have to look up there. I know that I'm on the 4th slide. I know that it's talking about pre-approval. I don't care. I'm not looking at it. My conversation's with me and you, and this is what we're going over. And guess what? When we get off in the middle of the deal, and I've already explained to you, hey, Bernadette, once we get this thing locked down, you're going to get nervous in the inspection period. And you're going to get worried, and you're going to think about backing out of the deal. And I've already told you that, right?
but we're looking for major items. When you get nervous, remember Bernadette, I told you as a professional, you're gonna feel like this, and we gotta keep moving. We understood this was coming, right?
Right.
When you can tell somebody what to expect,
Then
they
it's
feel a
done.
lot better.
Yeah.
Guys, it is, Adam just nailed it. It is setting clear expectations and over communicating, right? Like being there first and setting proper expectations. That's it in a nutshell. That's being proactive. That's what the professionals do. But don't wait to take action. I mean, I'm serious. You got to start today. If you don't do something today within the next 24 hours, the odds of you doing it at all are about zero. Okay. Well,
Thank you, Craig. We really appreciate you.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey,
Appreciate you, buddy.
So, hey guys, listen,
Wait one second.
this right here, we